Good morning. Thank you for joining me in this morning mindfulness practice. I wonder if you've been following with me for a little while, if you're doing some of the exercises that I suggested, if you're using your imagination to create a beautiful vision of what you would love life to be, even if it's just a fantasy right now. Fantasy is the first stage of creation in life, and your imagination creates fantasies. Everything that you see in your material world and the technology that you use, the vehicle you drive, everything started out as a fantasy. If you don't spend a little time fantasizing about how you would love your life to be, what you would prefer to be doing, what you want to create, then you just fall into whatever work is in front of you, whatever things have to be done, whatever crises you have to accept or work through, whatever happens, happens. What if you could design a goal and then go after it? The creative process that you as a human being have been put here on this earth is to decide what you want to bring into your world, what you would love to do or be or have. Start out with an idea, with a fantasy, with a picture in your mind. Without the aid of your imagination, there could be no creation in your life. Do you know that someone else will always be the star in your life, in your movie? Everything was created twice. First, with your imagination, in your marvelous mind, and then when it manifests into your material world. So the creative process is taking an idea, a fantasy, sitting with it, enjoying it, pretending, seeing what it would be like when you get into that state of being. And then you turn it into a theory because you can start to add ideas. And what if this happened? And what if that happened? Not how could it happen, but what if? And then you get another idea because as you sit quietly, imagine, ideas come from seemingly out of the blue. That's the universal mind giving you another idea. Put together the puzzle so that you can actually see the big picture and become what you really want, living in what used to be a fantasy, what used to be just an idea. And then as you take action, it turns into fact. It becomes your life. You start living that way. It just takes being quietly and spending time with your imagination, spending time thinking about this marvelous, miraculous force. How can you strengthen your imagination? When you're faced with a problem or a situation that isn't going as planned, try using your imagination. That takes blocking out your five senses. That takes just spending time thinking of how you would like to improve it, tapping into other possibilities for how you can improve the situation. brainstorming some ideas. Neville Goddard, in his book, The Power of Awareness, talks about subjective control. He says, your imagination is able to do all that you ask in proportion to the degree of your attention. All progress, all fulfillment of desire depend upon the control and concentration of your attention. Attention may be either attracted from without or directed from within. Attention is attracted from without when you are consciously occupied with the external impressions of the immediate present. We've been taught to live our lives based on what's happening around us and reacting. But all you're doing is creating more of the same. If you don't like what's going on in your outside world, giving your attention to it, focused on how can I get rid of this? How can I change this? Why is this happening to me? Then your attention is going to add energy to what you don't want. In proportion to the degree of your attention, the more you're forcing, the more you're fighting, the more you're trying to figure out the solution from inside the problem, the bigger the problem gets. The more you see the chaos, the more you see the problem, the more you see challenges, difficulties, negativity, and pretty soon you build a brick wall of fear or problems that you think you're never going to get through. But there is a way of directing your attention to the solution, figuring out how the situation can work for you, how you can be satisfied by thinking of the end result, thinking of what you want the solution to be, not how do you get rid of the problem. Neville Goddard says your attention is directed from within when you deliberately choose what you will be preoccupied with mentally. It is obvious that in the objective world, the world around you, the material world, your attention is not only attracted by it, but it's constantly directed to external impressions. But your control in the subjective state, going within, thinking from the goal already accomplished, thinking from how you prefer life to be, that's almost non-existent. For in this state, attention is usually the servant and not the master, the passenger and not the navigator of your world. There is an enormous difference between attention directed objectively, what you're looking at, the objects in your outside external environment, and attention directed subjectively. What do you want to use your imagination for? What do you want to create? What kind of fantasy would you love to have be your reality? The capacity to change your future depends on your ability to direct your attention inwardly, direct your attention subjectively, using your imagination to build a beautiful image, a picture of what you want. Neville says when you are able to control the movements of your attention in the subjective world, in your imagination, You can modify or alter your life as you please. But this control cannot be achieved if you keep allowing your attention to be attracted constantly from the outside world. We've been so programmed to work and force and go and do and be busy, 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 and digging trenches and running in circles and making that rut that we're in deeper and deeper, and not only staying stuck, but maybe even going backwards. Neville's idea about changing your future is to each day set aside yourself the task of deliberately withdrawing your attention from the objective world and of focusing it subjectively, inwardly. In other words, concentrate those thoughts or moods which you deliberately determine, and then those things that now restrict you will fade and they will drop out of your life. The day you achieve control of the movements of your attention in your inner world, in your subjective world, you are master of your fate. Your subconscious mind is subjective. It follows whatever has been trained into you, whatever program has been set in you by the world, by your loved ones, by your parents and grandparents and teachers, people who taught you how to live in this world. You can create the world that you love. You can create what you want, just like the light bulb was created, just like the cell phone was created, just like buildings were created, just like boats and airplanes and automobiles were created using imagination. Fantasies come from sitting and daydreaming and believing that it's possible, and then focusing on the solution, focusing on an end result, an end goal, an outcome that is not yet here in this material world, in this physical reality, but focusing on it until ideas form together, thoughts and ideas and actions come together, and using materials in this world create a new material object. Flying cars are a possibility, but right now there's so many rules and restrictions in air control. It's going to take a little while for cars to get off the ground where you could fly somewhere in your personal vehicle without the traffic on the ground. That's a fantasy. But one day it might become a reality, just like flying airplanes, just like fast trains, just like the house or the apartment that you live in. It started out as a fantasy. You have to spend time in your imagination in order to change your outer world. You have to accept life on the basis of the outside world. Neville Goddard says you will no longer accept the dominance of outside conditions or circumstances. When you achieve control of the movements of your attention, and having discovered the mystery hid from the ages, that Christ in you is your imagination, you will assert the supremacy of imagination and put all things in subjection to it. Don't accept that brick wall that you have built in your mind against whatever it is that you truly desire. Instead of creating the same results over and over and over, getting the same outcome, doing the same things, taking the same actions, habitually living your life with your own subjective mind, with the subjective subconscious that's been programmed by other people. You have to start with a new picture, a fantasy. What would you love to create? A dream house, a loving relationship, purposeful work that will change the way business is done, or the way people recover from injuries, or the way people are transported around the world, or cleaning up the environment. If you have an idea that you think is impossible because it's never been done before, what is your thinking about that? Are you putting it away for the day you retire, or the day somebody else invents it? Or are you getting mentally involved in what it could look like? When you take your imagination and sit quietly, ideas come to you, they join together. That's how everything has been created. Someone sat quietly with no distractions and thought about what it would be like. They made sketches, they drew pictures, they researched, they tried things and failed. They tried again and failed. They tried again, kept going. They didn't give up. They didn't think it was impossible. They kept going. They took different actions. And now we're using scanners to send information through the air instead of writing letters and sending it by horseback across the country. What could you think about? What solution could you bring to this world that's never been done before, that would make things easier, where people are happier, more productive, more purposeful? How would you be living your life if there was more ease and flow in your day? The first step in going inside is to purposely set aside time with no distractions and just daydream, just imagine. Use that beautiful mind of yours to pretend to get into a happy state, a healthy state of being, a calm state of being. That means you might block out other distractions by closing your eyes, by closing the door to your office or your bedroom, just sitting still. Maybe you love taking a walk in nature and enjoying the sights and sounds of our natural world. Maybe you like to relax in a bubble bath. But the point is to set aside time to do that every day, to take care of your mind and your body. There is infinite energy always available. It is constantly in motion. It is filling in this invisible world around us. It is filled and flowing into you with beautiful ideas. And as you sit quietly and tap into that energy, you get a hunch. Maybe you hear a little voice. Maybe you get an idea that will solve a big problem for you. When you slow down your breathing, slow down what's going on in your outside world, and just be. You might say a prayer and talk to God, but then sit and listen for the answer. Don't just talk. When you're praying, you're talking to God, you're asking for things, you're thanking Him, you're giving directions, you're asking. Take a deep breath and spend a few moments waiting for the answer. Take a deep breath in and imagine this beautiful universal energy that is always available. It's flowing into the crown of your head. It's swirling around, clearing out negativity, swirling around inside your body, clearing out any stress, any disease, any problems, grounding you. Take another deep breath in. Open up your heart and your mind. And bring into your mind a picture of what you would love. Anything. Just pick one thing. It could be a material object. It could be how you want to change your world, how you would love to be living. A home, a particular trip, an invention. Think about what it's going to do for you, for your family, for the world. The peace, the love, the joy, the calm. Tap into that energy and get clear on a picture that you would love to be in your physical reality instead of a fantasy in your mind. Let's take a deep breath in and sharpen your imagination. Get clear on the picture. Everything is transformed through your beautiful mind, through a vision of what you really, really, really want. As you spend time just sitting quietly, the vision will get clear. Don't worry about it if you're not seeing anything. Don't force it to happen. If you haven't been using your imagination, if you were told to put it away when you were a child, and this was forced into your subconscious mind that you have to pay attention to the outside world, this is just going to take some practice. Don't be hard on yourself. Just, you might want to get some beautiful pictures on your phone, on your computer. Maybe you want to make a vision board of things that you prefer so that you do have a picture to look at. And then write down what it is that you really want. Right now, remember, it's just a fantasy. You don't have to worry about how big it is, how much it's going to cost, how long it's going to take. Just write down your fantasy. As you write down what you want, how you want to feel, what it's going to be like when you're living that way, don't allow any negative thoughts or feelings to come in. Yeah, but it can't because. Don't do that. Just write a beautiful picture of what you want. A really good way to get into this energetic vibration is write down what you're grateful for first. Write down 3 to 10 things to get into that energetic vibration, tapping into universal energy. Just sitting and enjoying your beautiful picture for 5 minutes. Send loving energy to those who bother you, and get on with your day. Oftentimes, when you're sitting still and getting a beautiful picture, and then you write about it, you start to think. And as you think, you get new ideas. Write those ideas down and take action on them as soon as you can. If you need help with that, please reach out to me. Create a wonderful day. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you for joining me in this morning mindfulness practice. I'll see you back here Monday morning at 7. Thank you.